and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today I'm going to be doing a I seriously need to finish that catch up to let you guys know and so that I can reflect a wee bit on where I am sitting for my challenge. So this is the third time I filmed this. I filmed it a wee bit ago in advance, a couple of weeks maybe, and I sat down to edit it the day and my memory card corrupted, so I had to wipe all the footage that was on it so that it would talk to my computer. And then I did that, my computer was working, so that was fine, and I came back through to sit and film it again, and I filmed it, and then my memory card cut out and it came up with a wee error message on my camera, so I ejected it, put it into my computer to see what was happening, and it was just blank. It wasn't recording. So here we are, third time lucky. Have your fingers crossed that this video actually makes it onto the channel. So this is what we're doing, and it's going to be pretty lengthy, so we should crack on. I set myself the goal at the beginning of the year to try and finish all the series that I had currently started, because I'm terrible for starting a series and then no finishing it. And I have had quite a new boost of subscribers since I set myself that original challenge, and so when I talk about my I seriously need to finish that challenge and my wrap-ups, maybe not everybody knows what I am gibbering about. So I thought that this would be a good wee catch up for everybody who's been on the journey with me, to give you like a midway point through the year. This is where I'm sitting and this is what I'm going to be focusing on going forward. And if you are a new subscriber who has just came to join me, then you'll sort of see what I've been reading and finishing up, and then what I might be reading next. So let's just jump in. So last year I read The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth and I loved it. This was a 5-star read for me, and so I wanted to purchase the next two books in the trilogy and read them. I have purchased the second one, but I have not read it yet, so this is going to be counted as a series that I have not continued with. I do fully intend to continue this series at the end of the year, like for the rest of the year even, but Becca from the Becca Fibble recently read the second one and really didn't enjoy it, and that's made me a wee bit apprehensive about picking this up, but we will count this as a series that I have not continued. Then I read The Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, and the second one was Sea Witch Rising by Sarah Henning. I really didn't enjoy the first book, to be honest with you. I felt like it was a lot of build up, and so I was hoping going into this second book it was going to give me what I was wanting from it, and it didn't. It was very poor, and I read this and wished I didn't. It was a waste of my life that I will never get back. But I did read it, and so therefore this will be counted as a series that I have finished, and it will be on hold right away. Then I had read the first and second book in the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi, and so I was aiming to have at least read the third book, which I have. I read Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi. I only read this last month, 2 months ago, can't remember, at some point. But I really enjoyed it, so much so that I went out and I bought the rest of the series. So I have continued with this, so count it as a series I've continued with, but I am also hoping to maybe read the rest of the series this year. We'll see how things go. And then next I had read Caraval, and so I wanted to read Legendary and Finale this year and get that trilogy finished. I have read Legendary, but I have not read Finale yet, so I'm going to class this as a series I have continued, but I am still aiming to have this finished by the end of the year because I thoroughly enjoyed this. And then I had read You and Hidden Bodies by Charlaine Harris as a buddy read with my husband Simon, and we did like a 100-page catch-up that's on the channel, and so we had planned to read the third one together, You Love Me. However, we have not done so yet, but this is planned in for us to do in October because we're going away to a wee cabin, which is where we had read the first one together, so I thought it would be nice if we read the third one. So this is definitely planned, but currently I need to count it as a series I have not continued with. And then I would have liked to have read another 2 books in the Twisted Tales series. I have not continued. I read the first one as old as time and it was a bit of a bust, to be honest. I didn't like it. So I had said I was going to try and read the Ariel one next, and that was like, because if I'm going to like anyone, it's going to be the Ariel one, and that was going to determine whether or no I was going to continue this series or if they were just going to look pretty on my shelves and I was never going to read them. I haven't done that yet, so another series I have not continued with. I'm doing pretty bad here, eh? And then I had read Off Poseidon by Anna Banks, and so I wanted to read Off Neptune and Off Triton, which is books 2 and 3 in the trilogy. I did read books 2 and 3 in the trilogy and I thoroughly enjoyed them, so that is a series that I have finished. Ooh. And then I wanted to have read at least the first Wheel of Time book. I'm gonna count this as a series that I have continued because I am like nearly finished the first book. Me and Simon are obviously filming our Talking Trollocs, so it's taking a wee bit longer because we're reading it in 100-page stints and then sitting down to get a catch up before we're moving on to the next one. But I'm going to count this as a series I've continued because I am reading it. So. And then I had read These Hollow Vows, and so I wanted to read These Twisted Bonds. I was very lucky to receive an arc of These Twisted Bonds. It was phenomenal. I read it, therefore that is another series that I have finished. And then I had read A Discovery of Witches, and I, to be honest, was a bit mixed on this book. I binged the first half of the book, it was phenomenal and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and then the second half of the book was terrible to me. And so I have been very, very hesitant to pick up the second one, but my plan was to read the second one in the trilogy and for that to determine whether or not I was going to read the third one. I recently just picked up the second one in audio, so I will get to it soon, but unfortunately this is another series that I have not continued with. God, people need to start giving me a row because I feel like this is going pretty bad. Next up was the Charlaine Harris Suki Stackhouse novels. So I've been reading these as part of my Out of the Coffin read along that I've been doing with Ange from Angie's Book Chatter. We're over halfway through the series now. I am thoroughly enjoying every single one, so I'm going to put this in the series I have continued pile. And then I had read The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, and so I wanted to read The Night Country and Tales from the Hinterland to finish up this trilogy. I read both of those and they were a humongous disappointment. However, it is a series that I have managed to finish. And then I had read The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, and so I wanted to read The Monarchs. I did read The Monarchs, therefore it is another duology that I have finished. Right, this has gone a wee bit better. And then I had read Sisters of Shadow by Catherine Livesey, and I managed to get that as a NetGalley arc last year, and the second one, Sisters of Moonlight, was coming out this year. I was also lucky enough to receive a NetGalley arc of that. However, I have decided that I am going to DNF that series. I read Sisters of Moonlight and it just didn't hit the mark for me. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Sisters of Shadow, and Catherine Livesey has confirmed that there are going to be more books in the series, so therefore I've just decided that I am going to DNF it and not continue. Then I had said that I was going to start The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. However, I actually haven't started this, and I've decided that I'm just not going to count this as a series that like I haven't finished or no continued, because I haven't actually started it, and I've clearly put more of a focus on trying to finish the ones that I had already started, which I am fine with. So I'm just going to take this out of the running and say that I am not going to start this year. This might be a next year venture potentially, but I'm just going to take this out of all the equations and just no count it at all. And then I had read The Alchemist by Michael Scott and thoroughly enjoyed it, and so I had said that I would like to have read the next 2 books in this series, and I have not. I haven't continued this yet. I think that I will need to reread the first one because I did read it like 3 years ago, so I haven't done that yet. But I would still like to, because they're really lovely wee middle grades, so I don't think it would take me too long to read them. But this is going into the series I have not continued pile. And then I had read the first 3 books in the Invisible Library series, and I had said that I would like to purchase the rest of the series and at least read the next 2. I have purchased the rest of the series. They are all sitting beautifully on my shelves, and I have read the next 1, so I'm going to put it as a series that I have continued, and I'll definitely will pick up the next one at some point later in this year. If not, just binge read the rest of the series, because to be honest with you, they're phenomenal. And then I said that I would like to read The Cruel Prince and potentially read the entire Folk of the Air trilogy, and I did. I read all 3 of these, and then I also listened to How the King of Elfame Learned to Hate Stories, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. I thought that they were brilliant and a really great read, and so that is another series that I have completed. And then I had read The OK Witch by Emma Steinkellner, and I had said that there was a second one of these out that I wanted to purchase and read. I have done, I've purchased and I have read it, so I'm going to count this as a series I have completed, because I can't find it anywhere whether or not Emma Steinkellner is going to continue this series. However, if she did, then I would definitely continue it, because they are fantastic and I love them so much. But I'm going to count this for now as a series I have finished, because I have finished all the volumes I can get my hand. Then there are some series that I have started that I want to chat to you about, and there are some series, well, that I read and I didn't know it was a series, that have now said there's going to be sequels, so let's chat about those. So first of all, I read The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth Nix earlier this year, in fact, and it was a solid 5-star for me. It was phenomenal, and Garth Nix has revealed that he is going to be writing a sequel, and I don't remember what it's called. It's something Booksellers of Bath, and I am very, very excited for this. So I am going to count this as a series I have started, because I can't possibly continue it when the next one isn't out yet, but I feel like it needs to be counted somewhere, because I have read it and it is going to be a sequel. And then I also read Nightlights by Lorena Alvarez, and I didn't realise that this was going to be a series also, but there is. The second one is called Hecate, and it is just gorgeous and adorable, and I actually just read that this month. It was phenomenal, and so this is another series that I have finished. Again, I am not sure if Lorena Alvarez is going to continue and if there are going to be any more in the series, but count it as a series I have finished, because I have read everything I can get my hands on. Then I started the Heartstoppers series by Alice Oseman. Everybody has been talking about these, they get so much hype, and obviously the Netflix TV show came out this year, and literally everybody and their dog was telling me to read these. So I bought the first one and I absolutely loved it. I read it in one sitting, it was phenomenal. And right after I finished the first one, I turned to Simon and was like, I'm going to need to get the second one. And he got the second one sent to me the next again day so that I could continue that series. I still need to do 3 and 4 so far, but I get paid on Friday and I can just imagine me buying both of them on Friday. So I'm going to count this as a series that I have continued with, as opposed to a series that I have started, because I have started it but then I have also purchased and continued the rest of the series, if that makes sense. And then I read An Elderly Lady Is Up to No Good by Helene Thurston, and I sort of accidentally started this, to be honest, because I didn't realise it was a series when I picked it up. But it is, and there is a sequel which I have on my shelf and fully intend to read later on this year, but I'm going to have to count this as a series I have started because I haven't finished it. And then, quite a controversial one, when I did my I seriously need to finish this challenge, I didn't include Crescent City by Sarah J Maas because I really didn't like the first one. However, the hype got to me, and I bought the second one, so I'm going to count that as a series that I have started, and I fully intend to vlog my experience of reading House of Sky and Breath at some point. So this is also in the series I have started pile. So let's talk about some stats then. So I have started 3 new series, which isn't too bad. I haven't continued with 7 series, which is quite poor, and so I know that I've got quite a bit of work that I need to do there for the rest of this year, so definitely need to pick up some of those soon. I have DNF'd 1 series. I did read the sequel but decided I wasn't going to continue, and therefore I'm counting that as a DNF. I have continued with 5 series though, which actually isn't too bad considering I am usually terrible. And then I am most proud of this because I have finished 8 series this year, and it is only halfway through the year, and so that gives me hope that I can definitely bump up my finished series numbers. And I'm really pleased with myself because I usually don't pick up a sequel in a series, and I never finish a series. So to have already finished 8 this year I think is fantastic, and I'm actually really enjoying it because I'm feeling better about going into other books and picking up maybe wee standalones here or there without having like a bajillion characters in my head just like standing looking at me, tapping their foot at me, being like, what's happening with me? Where are we going? Where's my, like, what's going on with my story? Can we get back to me please? So I'm enjoying it, and I definitely want to continue this project for at least the rest of this year, and I will probably do another check-in at the end of the year so that you know where I am sitting, but I do specify in my wrap-ups if I have read anything specifically for this challenge, so you can keep a wee eye out and track my progress. But please, right, if anybody has read the Discovery of Witches books, do they get better? Like, please, gonna give your gal some inspiration to pick up some of the books that I haven't continued with already. If you've read any of them, please let me know in the comments down below. Give me all the hype. I don't mind a spoiler, so like, give me something that's going to make me want to pick up the rest of these and read them, please. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!